Hyundai Hyundai just came out with two pretty amazing concepts. I got to be honest. That one was the is it Ionic 6
Yes, actually.
and the Type 74.
Yes, actually.
This thing is incredible looking.
Right.
And anyone that thinks otherwise is just flat out wrong. That is one of the coolest. This thing's decent looking. It's okay. But that other thing, holy shit. Like I want that in my garage yesterday. I would buy that in a heartbeat. Like this thing, that new electric sports car that Polestar came out with.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it was called. I think an O2 concept. Man, those two, this and that car, make me really excited for EV sports cars. Just based on design, because they look phenomenal.
First of all, it's crazy. Like you have the here, right?
Yes.
And it looks like all the other Hyundais, and then you have this thing, which looks like a DeLorean and a Di Tommaso Pantera had future sex.
Had a glorious EV baby.
So it's kind of
future sex love sounds. JT.
You're not speaking my language anymore. This I think is ugly as sin, if we're being perfectly honest.
Really interesting. I mean, I don't like it. It's cooler than a lot of other stuff.
It's cool that they're making like performance variants of this stuff. So like that is a good thing. So I just want to walk some of you through some of the specs here. The Iconic 5N, that's what you're seeing on screen right now. It will be.
Is it Ionic or Iconic?
IONIQ.
Oh, Ionic.
Yeah. This will actually be launched next year, which is kind of cool. Again, I like the idea of performance vehicles. I do. It just looks like someone tried to design a car and they said, oh crap, it looks like a Volkswagen Beetle. Let's make it longer and add fender flares.
I was just going to say, this looks like most people's first attempt at drawing a Volkswagen Beetle.
There it is. Exactly. And then you have the RNE, which uses Hyundai's first electric global modular platform, which I'm guessing is the skateboard, as everyone kind of wants to refer to it. That's this one, the upside down contact lens. And then you have the Envision 74, which is a high performance hydrogen fuel cell hybrid model inspired by both the Hyundai N2025 Vision Gran Turismo and apparently the Pony Coupe concept from 1974. These both, to use Hyundai's words, embody Hyundai's N-brand high-performance vision of electrification through not confirmed, though these are not confirmed for commercial production. That's pretty much it. If you want to know this one, the RN22E, why can't we just name things like after things? You're looking at 430 kilowatts, over 250 kilometers per hour. You know, its capacity, weighs 5,000 pounds, which actually isn't awful for an electric car.
Not bad.
740 Newton meters, which is metric for a lot. And then you have the Envision, which is 500 kilowatts power-wise at the rear wheels. It has a 800-volt fast charging capability, refuels in less than 5 minutes, recharges in, thankfully didn't put this here, they say it has a range of over 600 kilometers, which is awesome, and another max speed of 250 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 130 miles an hour, if my high school math is correct. Look, we're all electric cars are coming. We know it. We just said it. You have to embrace stuff like this, especially this one. Yeah. Sign me up for an electric car that looks like this. I'll happily own it. Will something like this actually come out? Who the hell knows? But it is probably beautiful. This is more likely to hit production, which, I mean, everybody's going to have one of these. To make a performance electric vehicle is going to be so easy. I don't mean to discount the engineering involved, but with that platform, that skateboard platform, you can lengthen the wheelbase, shorten the wheelbase, widen the track width, shorten the track width, put whatever suspension you want in it, and then drop a body on it. If you wanted to make a performance variant, it's really not as hard as it used to be.
It's cool. I mean, and are these renderings or is this actual footage?
I believe, according to Hyundai, this is actual footage.
That's what I really love about this, because these actually exist. This isn't just some stupid rendering that an OEM was just like, here, graphic nerd, do this for me. Make these cool cars that'll never exist. Like, these actually exist. that's really cool to me. Even if the other one doesn't look great, I think it's interesting at least, and it's performance focused in this respect. Cool, but it exists. It's not just some random ass rendering, which is cool. And then the
Yeah.
other thing, the 74, whatever this is, that what is it? RNE23.
Um, Alphanumeric gibberish.
Yeah, that this thing on screen
RN22E.
now, RM22E. Yeah, that's awesome. Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
If that's real and that somehow gets produced, gimme.
I mean, if
I'm
they
in.
ever remake Back to the Future, there's your car.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't
So,
need DeLorean, just need that thing.
and I think Keith echoes. Keith is our impromptu third presenter tonight, so thank you for that. The
Yes, thank you, Keith.
retro looks are definitely coming back, which is neat to see.
Definitely.
100%. That's the thing about electric cars that's kind of exciting, but I hope they don't go too far with. I hope they do kind of a retro modern,
Yeah.
but don't like say, okay, well now we can put like an old Challenger or Charger body on this skateboard and go to town with it.
Hmm.
I hope they kind of make it a modern interpretation with some retro styling. So like on the RN22E, which good for them. If you look, I love the wheel covers, the brake fans. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
functional.
It's like an old 80s style like DTM
Yeah,
racer.
exactly. Like Ken Block is big fan of those. So I personally
Yeah.
like it. Like I said, I like the idea. I don't electric cars. I'm sure the drama they create by just how viciously they can accelerate, how low the CG is, so how they're going to handle the ability to have in real time torque vectoring, at whatever you want because it's literally just electricity and polarity and things like that. I love the performance that it's forgetting. There's nothing replacing the scream of a high performance engine, but I am stoked that really you don't need a huge budget to make a performance variant now. Performance. I think we're going to see a boom in once electric cars are, in 10, 15 years, you're going to see a boom on performance electric vehicles that don't look like a shopping cart, that aren't boring and bland.
Yeah.
For all of it, the iconic or whatever it is, for all its weird styling, I love the fact that it's a performance vehicle, and I'm never going to say no to one of those.
Yeah. I also love the quad headlights on that. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
I love that look, like the bucket headlights.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Keith asks, this may be a dumb question, only when Greg asks, but why don't these EVs have alternators so they charge the batteries? They do it with energy from braking, so on an alternator for those batteries. The short version of that is an alternator works off of the crank on an internal combustion engine. An electric motor in reverse is a generator, so it is the alternator, basically. So, and what these things are, so when you're coasting, for example, you can have it set to different modes for regen. So a lot of these electric cars are what's known as self-braking because you are one pedal driving, because you can lift off the pedal and it simulates like you're hitting the brake because it's in maximum regen mode. That's not a dumb question. It's a great question. You're seeing a lot of hybrids now. I think Mercedes does this. I'm sure a lot of others do it. But they got away from the accessories being on the front of the engine. So things like the alternator, things like power steering, things like your brake boost, or like everything that you would have, air conditioning, are actually run off of, I forget if it's the output shaft, or I'm sorry, the tail shaft on the transmission, or the actual drive shaft out, because it's a controlled known RPM kind of a deal. But they're running all of these accessories off of that, and they notice that the engine's more efficient. 2, they notice the parasitic loss is actually less at the rear wheels, which means it's a more efficient way of getting power from the back of the engine to the wheels, whether it be all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, I guess. Sorry, Hanson. Combine all of these things, they're finding the best way, but the short version of your engine is that all 4 of those wheels, if they're drive wheels, although I think this is rear-wheel drive, basically are alternators when the car's braking, off throttle, things of that nature. Greg, your engineering expertise, thoughts?
Yes. Everything you just said.
Fantastic. Editors, if we can clip that and just have that on repeat anytime I say something from now on.
No, which is what I have on repeat every time you say something.
I need a sound.
No, like, so if you think of like an internal combustion engine car, like, okay, well, the alternator is helping to charge the battery over time as the car runs, right? It's like a 15 to 20 minute drive, recharges the battery enough to like negate what you just did to like get it started up. Like that's like the rule of thumb. Well, your alternator, quote unquote, is you taking the plug and plugging it into the wall. Like that's your recharge. So there's no real like, alternator needed for something like that. And like Chad said, the alternator is like what's running the electric motor. It is the electric motor in that sense. So it's sort of like it's just a differentiation of like what it is. But yeah, I mean Chad pretty much just described it perfectly. So there was nothing else I really needed to add. Yeah, Mercedes. Yeah, you're right, Keith. Mercedes EQS is insane. With the interior, ambient lighting is incredible. Yeah, I mean they're cool. I just wish it didn't look like an alien space egg. And I don't like how a lot of these new EVs are kind of coming in and looking like, craziness. Like we don't have to make EVs look bananas. Like most Teslas to me look like alien space frogs. I don't like it. I don't like the look of them. That's why I'm really excited about like these two. Like even though one of them is not like the greatest looking thing, it looks different than most of the other EVs. Like that's nice. And that like retro sports car look for the other one, yes, give more of that. Like that would be utterly fantastic. And like Chad and I have talked at length about, how cool like retrofitting EV swaps would be for like old 70s, 80s, 90s cars. Like that's literally what that thing is. That is an EV swapped retro car. Like that's badass. And like I'm all in for that. That's very cool.
100% like that. And that's the exciting thing about electric cars is that they can, you can put whatever you want on it and it doesn't require a full re-engineering of the core of the car. And I like the EQS comment because that's what this thing reminds me of, is that just swooped shape. I get aerodynamics, efficiency. If a car can get through the air better, it makes it for a longer range, blah, 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 blah. You know what's going to fix range? Solid state batteries are going to fix range. So might as well put whatever body you want on it. I think it'd be like there's so many cool options. Like imagine like, what is the old Opel that kind of looked like a C4 or a C3 Corvette?
Oh, the GT.
The Opel GT. Imagine that with an electric drivetrain. Because like here it was kind of
Yes.
But that with a little electric love going on.
They have a big gathering of those at Carlisle Import and Performance Nationals every year. And there was it was like one of the featured cars a couple of years ago. Jalopnik was there even doing pieces on it. So those are cool cars. They're very cool. They're very fragile. The body is like all fiberglass and like they don't make any of it anymore. Sort of like the Bricklin. But not another 20,000 pounds.
There's another great car. EV swap up Bricklin. Like these cars that like have a niche following that like if you take out the what was it, a 351 Windsor, which is a good engine, but I mean it's a small block 351 cubic inch.
Yeah.
So that all right guys. So for the 18 guys here, help us EV swap something and either become a supporter or send some stars.
Yeah.
Or
there you go.
Send some stars if you want to see me finally put the supercharger on the Mustang.